Netizens in Buea and Munya are bitterly complaining against the abandoned heaps of garbage in Buea subdivision after the hygiene and sanitation company failed to continue with her daily tasks in making sure the management of those garbage are being taken off the streets of Buea and Munya respectively. Also, environmental conservators in Cameroon, precisely those of the Mount Cameroon National Park, celebrates the International Day for Elephants as they lay emphasis on the need for conservation and protection of the largest animal in the world, that is, the elephants, are lost. Gaza conflict takes a different twist following the massive evacuation of persons after the Israeli forces fired tons of missiles to Gaza. Thus, this has caused the loss of so many lives. Those were major stories. Good evening to you all. This is High Prime of Monday, the 12th of August 2024. For presentation, I am attending Larry Kevin Tabot. To start off this newscast with this story from the town of Buea, where denizens in the town of Buea and Munya, respectively, all of Buea subdivision, are bitterly complaining against the abandon of heaps of garbage by the hygiene and sanitation company that is in charge of clearing this rubbish from the streets of Buea and Munya, respectively. This, according to denizens, is causing a environmental hazard and health hazards to their daily routine, as some of them can no longer feel free on the streets of Buea and Bunya respectively. More on that with journalism student on internship in Meleke Civil.
Buea, one of the major towns in Cameroon, was known for its hygienic status. As man put, cleanliness is next to godliness, but it's not the case of Buea, as the various junctions are filled with waste. Heaps of garbage are being dumped on various streets like Mount Carmel Junction, My-18, My-17 Motor Park, and many others. As such, it has caused many to feel very uncomfortable using this path due to the stench from these heaps of waste deposited by the same inhabitants and business people of that area. The hygiene company over the years has been putting in effort ensuring that these areas are clean, but it has changed as they are now reluctant and delay the removal of these heaps.
Now say the people they are not to blame them because they no get choice. That the only thing they which the people the whole Munya. But people say why Ezekam they can move the dates as the people they do. You know, one question now, no, wala na say Ezekam motor spoil or they may pay their workers or na what's happen with the tea. Don't flock for the whole Munya so. It is maybe we have to start a house. No. Wala we see they happen to Ezekam.
Business people in this locality are the most smell since they spend hours every day there, thus sometimes suffer from stomach issues resulting from this stench. Many complain yet can't do nothing since their livelihood and that of their families, which is their businesses, is being carried out there.
They did for here. We don't try. Say how man go do. But no easy for me. All my the one on nose mask, face mask, and any mask.
The reluctance of the hygiene company to carry this waste has led to the increase of flies, mosquitoes, and other insects around this area, making passerbys to cover their noses and frown when taking this path. The hygiene company is expected to dispose this waste as it has led to malaria caused by mosquitoes and other infectious diseases as a result of this waste. Meanwhile, the population of Buea are not left out. They are called upon to properly dispose their waste and avoid such.
And made the Buea Council authorities do the needful in order for those wastes to be taken off the streets of Buea and Munya. We now remain in the town of Buea of the Southwest region, where the national president of the Cameroon Human Rights Commission, known for short as CHRC, Professor James Mwange Kabila, has rounded up the celebrations of the 2024 International Day for Indigenous Peoples in the World. These celebrations took place in Boya, precisely at the Boya at the Planet of the Boya Council, as the 38th edition took place on the theme Access to Citizenship, a fundamental right for all citizens. During the ceremony, worries and polemics were being raised by the indigenous people of the Southwest region to the national president of the Cameroon National Human Rights Commission, Professor James Kabila, who promised an adequate solution. Sonny Tangunyu was there, and that was
As the world gathered to celebrate the 38th edition of the World's Indigenous Peoples Day, Boya was not exempted, as the occasion was celebrated under the flagship of the Cameroon Human Rights Commission and graced by the presence of its president, the Boya City Mayor, chiefs from Pakoa, the Littoral region, including other dignitaries, celebrated under the theme Protecting the Rights of Indigenous People in Voluntary Isolation and Initial Contact. Some of the challenges were highlighted.
The main problem the indigenous people face is the land grabbing, because the indigenous people are fundamentally attached and they have special relations with their land. But unfortunately, since their premises is so attractive, there are so many persons, so many people coming around to take their land without their full consent. So that is the main challenge. But you also have a second challenge, the challenge of birth certificates, because many indigenous people cannot afford the price to obtain birth certificates or any other civil status certificate. And the third main challenge they face is the challenge of political participation, because they are not enough involved in the governance.
Despite all this hardship encountered by these indigenous population, encouragement in uplifting their cultural values was the word's word.
The message we left to the chiefs is that the chiefs must work for peace. The chiefs are the collaborators of administrative authorities. I've listened to them. They are all of them are willing to collaborate fully with the administrative authorities, and I encourage them to do so.
Local authorities, the celebration of these days served as a platform to create long-lasting solutions to their plights.
What we had here today was a discussion. The National Commission of Human Rights is an opportunity for us to start dialogue into different indigenous problems that we have. And if we didn't have this opportunity, I'm sure you would have never known that 58,153 hectares of our land has been taken. And so we are glad that we had this opportunity to start discussions about our indigenous people. What I'm taking back to them is that the authority that was charged by the United Nations and the government of Cameroon to listen to such problems has heard our call, our cries, and is willing to make sure solutions and discussions start towards a permanent solution to this issue.
The ceremony saw the presence of different traditional dance groups who exhibited their different dance moves. The surprise of the day that caught the admiration of the Bakura people was the fact that the declaration of the human rights law was translated to the Mokwe language, giving them a sense of belonging and paving the way to equally teach their own children.
And moving up forward with one of our late stories, as we did mention earlier, conservators from the Mount Cameroon National Park in Boya today joined their fellow conservators in Cameroon and around the world for the commemoration of the 38th edition of the International Elephant Day on the theme Raising Awareness on the Critical Role Played by Elephants in the Ecosystem and Threats they feast you. And in that set commemoration ceremony that saw a host of activities highlighting on the role and importance of elephants to the various ecosystem In Planet Earth, the set engagement was an avenue for the different participants to be educated and express their different opinions on the way the various communities in Cameroon should cater for elephants. As they say, elephants and humans can cohabit peacefully if the different prerequisites are put into order. Now let's take a listen to two conservators from the Mount Cameroon National Park who spoke to our reporter in Buea.
A Class A animal means that is an endangered species. But at the level of Mount Cameroon National Park, what we are doing with our community, we are trying to protect this species at the level of Mount Cameroon, but we cannot certify or we cannot say elephant is in danger in Mount Cameroon National Park. That's why we are calling the community to continue work together with the park to protect this elephant. Know the importance of elephant in the world. Today the message that we can throw is to raise awareness on the critical role of elephant it is playing in our ecosystem and the threats they face. We just call all the population, all the community to join Mount Cameroon to protect these animals and to know that coexistence is possible with this animal.
1994 forestry law, but since July we have the new forestry and wildlife law that is in place, and comparing the present forestry law with the former forestry law, the protection of elephants was not really that strong. It should be reminded that elephants are classified under Class A, and Class B species of wildlife animals. They are classified under Class A based on the fact that for those that have tusk weighing less than 5 kilograms are classified as Class A species, and for those that have tusks above 5 kilograms are Class B species. So initially under the 1994 forestry law, when you were caught defaulting laws against elephants, you will be punished with an imprisonment for up to 3 years, with a fine in between 3 million to 10 million. But with the new dispensations of the law, you can be punished for up to 20 years imprisonment, and with a fine for up to 50 million. So trees, at times, they become a threat to us. So the law has made provisions that in case a person is being threatened by an animal, by an elephant, for example, they have the right to kill it. They have the right to kill it, but provided they report to the nearest wildlife service.
Those were conservators of the Mount Cameroon National Park who were speaking on the celebration of the International Elephant Day commemorated in Cameroon and the world over. Moving on to the town of Limbe, where the city mayor of Limbe, Paul Efumengale, has frowned on the abandonment of waste heaps at the different road junctions and streets of Limbe that is causing environmental and health hazards to denizens and the entire environment by the Hygiene and Sanitation Company. This was in a clean-up exercise that he himself conducted with caterpillars and heavy-duty trucks from the Limbe City Council, where they engage in clearing off of those heaps of waste or garbage all across the streets and junctions of Limbe, as he went further to threaten the Hygiene and Sanitation Company that they risk the termination of contract with the Limbe City Council. More on that with our reporter. The town of Limbe, that has been notorious for her clean nature over the decades in Cameroon, is now living in its shadow of past glory as heaps of trash are all littered all around the town, following the inability of the Hygiene and Sanitation Company, who has failed woefully to meet up with her expectation in keeping the town clean. As such, the Limbe City Council is now doing the needful.
It's unique in terms of cleanliness, and we have noticed that Izakam is very slow to remove the garbage, so they should not change the face of Limbe with their financial challenges that they have, because it's a new trend that we are seeing, that we are witnessing in Izakam, and I think we need to stop it.
Driving from one part to the town, for persons who know Limbe, will be astonished by the rate of filthiness in Limbe, as the situation has furthermore been made worse, with Limbe acting as a safe haven for IDPs who are running from the 7-year armed conflict of the Anglophone crisis.
Well known as a safe haven, the population has drastically increased, and you know, the more population, the challenge of waste management.
With the deployment of heavy-duty and manpower officials of the Limbe City Council to clear off the piles of waste, it is therefore projected that an easy calm reigns between the Limbe City Council and the Hygiene and Sanitation Company regarding their contract.
I am very disappointed with my contracting partner, who is Izakam. As we speak, the City Council is not paying Izakam a dime. You know, in any decision that you take, you need to give a warning signal. We know that this is their responsibility, but again, I cannot let my people suffer for this health threat that I see within the municipality. Looking at the situation, I decided to come out to see how I can manage the situation.
The garbage crisis in Limbe has furthermore beckoned for the proposition of efficient waste management entity to be erected so as to enhance the one-time glory of cleanliness in Limbe. To our viewers in Cameroon and around the world, you are watching High Prime, and we are broadcasting live from Buea. We move on to other news item in a bid to increase skills in the lives of young persons in the Southwest region. A delegation from Yaoundé from the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education has provided adequate knowledge and skills, presented opportunities to the different young people in the Southwest region for them to exploit. This was over the weekend at the Buea Multipurpose Youth Center as they were trailed on these various opportunities. More on that with you, Mutsoni Tambuni.
We try to continue empowering youth in the Buea municipality. The Youth Empowerment Center under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education has engaged into 3 agreements with some local companies to give up more training opportunities.
I wish for the youth is that they should all come here and benefit from the services, all the training. There's one of the partners is involved in transformation. The transformation industry is the biggest in the world today, because in transformation you always have a chain that you will settle in and generate a lot of wealth. So we are counting on the youth to come here and exploit this partnership that has been signed today, at least with 3 local partners.
The signing ceremony of the partnership between Minjek and her partners is very pivotal, as engaging the youth with entrepreneurial skills is one of the ministry's goals.
The mission of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education cannot be 100% accomplished without the civil society organization coming in. That is where the partners come in. They are coming in to make sure that the goals which have been set by the states are achieved. Yeah? So that is the win-win. They are playing their role, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education to play its role.
According to the local partners, it would pave the way to better equip the youth with hands-on training skills, hence some of them being self-employed.
I've seen that the education in Cameroon is turning to a dead end, in the sense that we produce a lot of graduates, a lot of scholars, and at the end of the day, there are no facilities to get them employed. So we are involved into the vocational training, into the empowerment of youth and capacity building, because we believe and we are very sure that if people are skilled, they can find their ways and then they can create more employment.
We are intends to develop the system and expand at the level of biometric card, like encouraging the youth to register under the youth empowerment and obtain their biometric card, and also to facilitate their services in making sure that we give them discounts in all of our services that we produce, because we realize that Boya in particular, the system of gas here is so expensive, and also their ways for them to receive their gas also at their homes is difficult. So we are trying to manage the system to make sure that we facilitate, we first of all drop down the price of gas and also facilitate their delivery services for them.
Starting as a vocational training center, the multipurpose youth center in Boya trains youth in areas of both work, fashion design, computer science, and others. With this triple agreement, it is assured that the youth will benefit 1,000-fold.
One of the major challenges in today's world and in today's Africa is that of youth of keeping to time and the different opportunity tasks and ventures that they are aiming for. Time management is still a notorious luxury in the continent of Africa, as many takes it for pleasure, as they don't see the need for them to keep to time. This has therefore degenerated furthermore with the popular saying of African time, or better known as black man time. As such, many African youth have lost opportunities due to their failure of keeping to time. Our reporter on that, Adeline Ayinfo Akumeni, tells us more.
Time is the most valuable thing a man can spend. The average worker, according to research, spends 51% of every workday on task with low to no value impact due to the lack of time management, a virtue inextricably linked to productivity. In today's fast-paced world of endless demands, understanding proper time management makes the difference between thriving and surviving, especially for the young people.
The greatest commodity we have to trade on this earth with, and which everybody has almost equally daily, because we all have 24 hours a day. What do you do with your time? In fact, wisdom, it is often said that wisdom is wasted on the old and is ignored or despised by the young people. To number your days, if you're able to have that consciousness that you have time and you need time to accomplish or to be productive, then you're not going to waste time. You say redeeming the times, for the days are evil. So we have a lot to do, and it must be done within time frames.
The incredible advantages tied to time management are valuable for individual and corporate productivity, including enhanced job performance, improved relationships, and overall wellness, things achievable through structuring, adaptability.
The issue of time is the most important asset and the most valued asset that we have at hand. And especially youths don't understand the importance of time and the value of time, especially when it has to do with productivity. So for me to just say that young people, the time you have today, you will not have it tomorrow. So for you to be able to succeed, for you to be able to be more productive, you have to be extremely disciplined the way you use and manage your time.
It becomes difficult to stick to timing when young people are unsure of what. Therefore, the consciousness of timing as both an attitude and behavior increases the chances of work-life balance, maximized opportunities, and sustainable development.
That was Adeline Ayinfo Akumeni reporting there. We move forward with this other story from the Southwest region still. To better understand community plight, the International Development Association, known for short as IDA, under the World Bank program, has allocated the sum of 189 billion CFA francs loan to certain regions of the country. The Local Governance and Resilient Communities project has been launched in the Southwest region. As the director for Southwest Prologue, that is Tabel Yo Ako, took off time to explain to the various population in the Southwest region what they stand to gain in this Prologue engagement from the World Bank project. More on that with a reporter.
On September 28, 2022, the International Development Association, IDA, under the World Bank allocated a loan worth about 189 billion for the implementation of the Local Governance and Resilient Communities Project, PROLOC, in Cameroon. PROLOC, which has a 5-year lifespan, has come to add to the decentralization process across the country.
PROLOC, as you know, is a local governance and resilient community project. I want you to get the word. Local governance and resilient community project. It's under the domicile under the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Government. As I explained in the hall, it has 4 cardinal points that we're going to. It's working on 4 cardinal points. Okay, 1, building of infrastructure that will be resilient. The council, I'm just giving you a summary, building of capacities, and we're going to do project management, monitoring, and it's going to have intervention in case that we have a disaster, man-made, health, or natural.
According to the regional coordinator of PROLOC, strategies have been put in place to effectively manage the project in the region.
You know, PROLOC is coming, it's just a coordinator. We have partners in development. Okay, we are going to work with CSOs, we are going to work with NGOs, we are going to work with other development partners that are in the field. For example, you have Caritas, you have Reach Out, you have Shamek, who have been in the field and they are doing construction. Take example, in Akwaya, if the mayor of Akwaya has identified a project and it has been approved by PROLOC, well, if Caritas who is there, say, okay, Caritas is already based in Akwaya, you don't need to move, so Caritas will be giving the project to execute. So it's just simple strategies.
On his part, the mayor of the Buea Council, David Mafani, who described the project as a win-win-one, appealed to the government to facilitate the rate of decentralized budget to the municipalities. PROLOC is expected to close by September 30th, 2027 and target 189 municipalities. It is thus hoped that the coming of PROLOC will go a long way to increase community access to climate infrastructure and strengthening local capacity to manage resources and deliver services.
And moving with information beyond the shores of Cameroon, we take you to the Palestine-Arab conflict, or the Palestine-Israeli conflict that says the crisis in the Gaza Strip is fast worsening as following the multiple missile strike by the Israeli government to Gaza. This has caused massive evacuation of persons living in Gaza City as a result of the intensity of those missile strikes from Israel. It has furthermore exacerbated the bad situation to become worse as thousands or tons of death has been recorded following those recent violence taking place in Gaza. More on that with journalism student on internship, Emily Sivi.
In Gaza, crises unfold as thousands of residents are forced to flee their homes amidst escalating conflict. The relentless bombing have left families scrambling for safety, with many facing evacuating orders from Israeli military authorities. For many Gaza, this is not the first time they have had to evacuate. Families are now displaced in areas such as camps, hospitals, church, and many others are under the breach. The Israeli military ordered the departure of many in southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis after a deadly airstrike on one of the shelters hosting many. The attack left over 80 Palestinians dead, according to the local health authorities. Israel has repeatedly ordered the mass immigration as its troops have returned to heavily destroy the areas where they had previously battled Palestinian militants. As a result of the situation, many are left without basic necessities like food, water, and medical supply has become a problem. Volunteers and NGOs are working tirelessly to deliver aid, but the ongoing violence hampered their efforts. As the conflict continues, the plight of displaced Gazans remains a stark reminder of the urgent needs for peace and humanitarian assistance for those caught in the conflict.
And with that foreign news item all the way from the Middle East by journalism student on internship here in High Television, Imeliki Civil, this is where we conclude High Prime of tonight of Monday, the 12th of August, 2024. I have been Itening Larry Kevin Tabot and take the same appointment tomorrow, same time, same television channel. Good night.